Okay, eto na. Meron nang magkakatapat sa finals, Ginebra versus TNT. Rematch mula nung last year kung saan nanalo TNT kontra sa Ginebra. Okay, simulan na natin yung preview. Itong Ginebra team na to, okay, ang identity nila this conference, they are a team that can explode offensively. Okay, shooting team na sila ngayon. Yes, they can also play defense, pero hindi sila TNT level defense right now. I'll talk about that later. Ngayon, gusto ko muna pag-usapan sa video na to yung roster construction. Parehas na team, ibang teams na sila kumpara sa huling pagtatapat nila. TNT wala ng Mikey Williams, an excellent shot maker and a scorer in general, but they do have ng Batak naman ngayon, an above average scoring guard na kayang mag-slash to the basket and get paint touches. Actually, si Ray ng Batak sa last 10 games, he's second sa drives per game na nag-result into a shot sa buong team. 2.6 siya behind Ronde's 4.6 per game. So kumbaga they really rely on Ray ng Batak to get to the paint and collapse the defense, tapos make a play, either draw a foul, score right in the basket, or kick out to their shooters. Pero itong TNT na to, ang calling card talaga nila is defense. They really excel defensively. Yan talaga yung bread and butter nila this conference. Pinakita nila sa series nila kontra Rain or Shine. Diba? Number 1 offense nga Rain or Shine. Pero naging half-court team sila kontra TNT. And pagdating doon, di ba, advantage for TNT na yun. For Ginebra naman, last time, sa huling laban nila kontra TNT sa finals, wala silang spacing. Ang tagal lagi ng bola kay C-Stan. And yung laro nila in general, para silang nagdinitpick sila, namimili sila ng matchups. But this time, kabaliktaran. They're fast, they can shoot, and they move the ball like a hot potato. Pero for me, ang malaking factor talaga dito for Ginebra ay yung ability ni Stephen Holt to make open shots. I mean, yung magiging malaking factor is yung ability ni Stephen Holt to make those open shots na maibibigay sa kanya. Sa huling 10 laro kasi ng Ginebra, siya yung leader sa team ng uncontested shot attempts per game. He was getting 2.3 uncontested shots a game. Leader yon sa buong team. Sa stretch na yon, he only shot 26% from 3. Mostly open shots. Pero again, kasi Stephen Holt's mainly a defender this conference, so we can't really expect Stephen Holt to explode defensively. Pero at the very least, diba, make your open threes. And I feel like if magawa nyo yun, this series kontra TNT, may malaking bagay yun for Ginebra. Kasi once na magsipasok na yun, diba, doon na magbubukas yung ibang aspeto ng laro ni Stephen Holt. And kahit na hindi na nga magbukas diba, extra points na yon. The fact na ang dami niyang ginagawa, may rebound, ma-assist, nagdi-defend. The fact na ma-shoot niya yung 3 points niya, ang laking factor na yan for Ginebra. Okay, so let's talk about Justin Brownlee naman. Honestly, wala naman tayong dapat talagang i-expect na kay Brownlee since si Brownlee na yan. Pero feeling ko, kapag si Ronde na yung tumao sa kanya and not a guy like Cobontin or kung sino mang defender, Kelly Williams, pwedeng maging perfect decoy si Brownlee Like, hindi naman literal na decoy, di ba? I-score pa rin naman, pero they can use his gravity. Kasi, once na si RHJ, itao mo na kay Justin Brownlee, kumbaga quits na yun. Tinatanggal mo na yung best defender at yung anchor ng defense ng TNT. Okay, meron ka ng RHJ na nakatao sa Brownlee and most likely, hindi naman ganong mag-help off sa RHJ kay Brownlee. Unless itao nila si Cobontin kay Brownlee and then si RHJ yung nasa help. Pero ang mangyayari naman doon, kapag nag-pick and roll, okay, di ba, Cobontin yung nilalagay mo sa pick and roll. May switch mo ba kay Japet yon, di ba? So, I feel like Justin Brownlee can use his scoring and his gravity to free up the other guys. Kasi sa huling ilang laro naman ng Ginebra kontra SMB, nagsimula na rin umarangkada yung laro ng mga ibang players na like Maverick Ani, si RJ Abarientos, Scottie Thompson. Inconsistent, pero may mga games na sumasabog, nagiging demonyo si Scottie. Yung parang nakainom ng 5 extra Diyos. So, ayun, I feel like pag tinao mo kasi si RHJ kay Brownlee, you're immediately putting your best defender sa well, okay naman yung tactic na yun, pero like scheme-wise, overall, parang pag nag 4v4 na yung matitirang 4, lamang yung Ginebra in terms of players. Kasi parang most TNT players, yes, they do play good defense, pero I feel like mas may advantage yung skill set ng players ng Ginebra since puro mga combo guard like Scottie, Maverick, RJ, Stephen Holt, Japet Aguilar, malaking big man, may skills. Parang I'd rather have my best defender be involved scheme-wise defensively instead of focusing all of his energy sa isang tao lang. So, ayun. For RHJ naman, magiging importante for him to really get into the paint. Not really to score, hindi yung mala Junmar, but rather getting to the paint with his dribble para gumawa ng plays. Kasi once na makapunta siya sa paint with live dribble, maha-highlight yung lack of size ng Ginebra. And of course, mag-overcompensate sila doon by bringing in help. So ngayon, doon na malilibre yung shooters ng TNT like si Pogoy, si Oftana na honestly si Calvin Oftana medyo reduced yung role niya unlike sa huling pagkikita ngayon medyo spot up shooter si Oftana this time and mostly si RHJ yung umaatake for TNT. Pero yun, for RHJ kasi then, based sa last 10 games niya, he has not been good scoring right at the rim lately. Sample size na yun, yung last 10 games na yun, 41% lang si RHJ close to the basket, shooting layups. Okay, so yung 41% na yun, layups lang yun sa malapit sa basket. So siguro, a game plan here, potential game plan is to force RHJ to get deep in the rim rather than give him the close to medium range jumpers kung saan 38% siya na yes, lower kumpara doon sa 41 na malapit sa ring. Pero those situations kasi sa mid-range, pwede mas mag-develop pa yung play into something else. Pwede pa siyang dumrive, pwede pa yung defense, diba, mag-collapse, makick out sa corner, mas kita niya yung court. Unlike kapag nasa ilalim si RHJ, limited yung options niya to choose from. Like, lay-up ka, kick out ka sa weak side corner na merong tao rin naman na naglalaro ng passing lanes doon. You have Japet Aguilar who's protecting the rim. Meron ka mga Scottie Thompson, mga parang langaw sa depensa ng Ginebra na sundot ng sundot kung saan-saan. And the fact na 41% lang si RHJ against Rain or Shine's defense and sa quarterfinals match nila. So, medyo suspect yon. Anyway, we've been talking about TNT's defense. Yes, elite sila and yung series versus Rain or Shine, pinakita kung gaano sila kagaling ng defensive team. Pero this Ginebra team kasi, even though medyo similar sila sa Rain or Shine, medyo smaller team, mabilis maglaro, guardia, playmaking, shooting, pace, etc. This Ginebra team is different. Kaya nila mag-execute sa half court unlike Rain or Shine kasi yun naman talaga calling card ng Ginebra teams. Mag-execute sa half court. Ngayon, may na-unlock lang silang bagong part ng laro nila pero hindi naman nawala yung half court execution nila. And since I have a point to prove here, syempre todo research ako tungkol dito. And I found out that Ginebra is really good at scoring sa dying seconds ng shot clock. And generally, teams run a single high or an ISO, diba? They don't really execute kapag gano'n ang kalate into the shot clock. Pero ang Barangay Ginebra, apparently, okay, sa last 6 seconds ng shot clock, tignan nyo na lang yung shot chart nila. They're shooting 42% sa rim, which is, alam mo yun, hindi ganun kataas, pero still, 6-second shot clock, okay? 52% sa mid-range, 32% sa tres, 45% around 15 feet. Diba? These numbers are not great, pero considering na last 6 seconds na to sa shot clock, nakakascore pa rin sila ng 38.6%. Okay, sa last 10 games to, kumpara sa 29.8 lang ng TNT. And this shows na Ginebra is very patient offensively. Okay, so yung depensa ng TNT masusubukan for 24 seconds. So ang question na lang, kaya bang mag-hold up ng defense ng TNT for 24 seconds? So ayun, feeling ko both teams kontrapelo sila sa bawat isa, and this is one of the few advantages Ginebra has over TNT. So for TNT naman, again, yung defense, okay? Kasi yes, okay, Ginebra can score, Ginebra can execute, pero yung defense kasi ng TNT, grabe, okay? Sa last 10 games ulit, okay, yun yung sample size talaga natin for this video, per possessions na pinag-uusapan natin. So basically, imagine niyo pagbaba mo ng court, diba, ilan yung nai-score mo kada baba mo? Like, not literally, but practically, okay? So, catch and shoots, defense to ng TNT, per possessions, catch and shoots, TNT only allowed 0.7 points per game, okay? Sa last 10 games. Pick and roll ball handler plays, okay? 0.8 points per possession. And sa transition, which is, mahirap bantayan ng transition kasi diba, backpedal ka, ilan lang yung bumababa, etc. So, still, less than 1 point per game. Okay, sa last 10 games na yon, tatlong play types na yan, 390 total possessions yon. 304 lang na score ng kalaban. Okay, sabi nyo, parehas 300. No, possessions nga, di ba? You can score 4 points in a possession sa PBA. Okay, 304 lang yung inallow nila. Bale, less than a point per possession. So, ayun, yung TNT defense, legit yung TNT defense. And feeling ko marami ring mabibigla na Ginebra fans na hindi gaano familiar sa TNT defense. Pero yes, again, Ginebra can execute, Ginebra can score, dying seconds ng shot clock. Question na lang dito how resilient they are or they're going to be against TNT's defense kasi legit talaga yung defense ng TNT. So yan yung preview ko. Hindi ako magpe-predict ng kahit na ano kasi mahirap na mag-predict. Hindi natin masabi, okay? Bilog ang bola, sabi nga nila. Pero I feel like both teams naman meron silang kanya-kanyang unique advantages and disadvantages. So some advantages weigh more than the others. Pero I feel like this is a matchup na parang mas masaya na lang kung... So yun, ito yung preview ko. Walang predictions. Pero sana mag Game 7, no?